Amnesty International says the United Nations has systematically failed to uphold human rights and international law, and the Syrian conflict is one example of the human consequences. Pointing the finger at the Assad regime and Russia, it says civilians have been attacked without any accountability, and the UN system has failed to protect those fleeing the scourge of war. Its annual report speaks of a global assault on freedom as governments pursue short-term interests and security crackdowns.
Amnesty International has consistently documented and condemned human rights abuses by armed groups, Islamic State, Boko Haram, YPG and others. But the actions of these groups cannot be used as a justification for any government to themselves violate international human rights or humanitarian law for short-term gain. Whether it's the US using mass surveillance, or Russia using the foreign agent law, or Turkey or Nigeria using their security forces on their own populations.
Amnesty also blames the EU for failing to find a humane response to the refugee crisis. Despite search and rescue operations and better humanitarian assistance, it says the focus is still on keeping people out.
The richest bloc in the world, which is Europe, has really not been able to come together and find a sensible, agreed, coherent, safe way in which people can access Europe at a time when they are fleeing from war and persecution. So I would say, on the whole, Europe has failed human rights and failed migrants and refugees.
European institutions and governments are slammed for lacking the courage to tackle Hungary over human rights concerns. Britain is accused of setting a dangerous precedent with plans to replace its Human Rights Act. Amnesty calls on the EU to be much bolder in challenging violations and upholding freedoms in Europe and across the globe.